Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Harmony Alumni Leadership Interview Series. Today we have as a host Daniel Bustillos. Mr. Bustillos, welcome.
Hello.
Our guest speaker is Salma Atiya. Ms. Atiya, welcome to our interview series.
Hi.
Mr. Bustillos, you want to take it away?
Yeah, I'll take over for sure. First of all, how's it going, Salma? Nice to see you again. Thank you for accepting our invitation to be here. We wanted to get to know you or get to know a little bit more about your career and, the path that you kind of took to get here or to wherever you are.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, your education, and of course, like where you are right now, what you're doing.
Sure. So I graduated with a bachelor's in sociology and a minor in marketing. And then after I graduated, I worked in education for like 3 years. And then right now I'm working on a master's degree in sociology focused on telecontraception, and which is basically birth control accessibility through apps. And then as far as work life, I currently manage a Metro by T-Mobile store here in El Paso. We are the top 15 in the nation out of 10,000 stores. So that's awesome.
Wow.
And I also just opened my own business called PurseFind. It's an online business opened
Congratulations.
in June of 2020. So thank you.
That's super awesome to hear. We always love it when people talk to us about like new businesses that they start on themselves, especially like at such young age as yourself. You mentioned that you got.
Ms. Atiya.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
No problem.
Danny. You mentioned about your store. I know we don't take commercials or anything, but if you could mention it, maybe it could be an advertisement for your company.
So I work for Metro by T-Mobile. So it's basically Metro's T-Mobile's prepaid sort of branch. And these stores, if you notice, they're across the nation, but if you notice, they're more located among neighborhoods. So they're a little more personal and compared to like T-Mobile corporate stores. We are located here in El Paso, far east Montana, like if you're going to Red Sands, and we service the whole community in that area. We're the only store serving that community, and we have been for 5 years now.
And this is your job, right? On the side, you also have your business.
I think you wanted to know about your personal business, actually.
So.
Well, it's okay. We can find out about both of them. That's fine.
Well, I've been working in telecommunications, specifically wireless, since I was 16 years old. And this is through my parents. My parents work in telecommunications. And so at first I was very apprehensive, but you sort of get submerged into the family business, and very quickly, I mean, my parents have always been entrepreneurs, so they've had businesses of all types, and I very quickly, became submerged into it, and I really like it. It's a lot of adrenaline. You have to be very goal driven, and you have to be a people person to be able to work in this kind of industry. It's very fast paced, and you work with a lot of people. There's across El Paso. So for example, we work with a dealer that has over, I want to say, 100 something stores nationwide. So we network a lot. And then as far as my personal business, it actually came out of the pandemic. So unfortunately, when the pandemic hit, our store was shut down for about a month because there was still a lot of lack of education in our neighborhood, in our area. It was early April, so people were still kind of, they didn't know what was going to happen.
Not wearing masks, things like that,
yeah. So a lot of businesses shut down for at least a month. And so that's when I was at home, and I was like, what should I do? And it actually started, I was shopping around. Everybody did online shopping. I found this purse I really wanted, and I thought it was too expensive. And I said, how much? I don't know why, but I was like, how much is this wholesale? And I started investigating, and all of a sudden I was submerged into the wholesale business of purses and accessories. And then I launched my online brand called PurseFind on Instagram. And so far, I mean, the business has been doing really good. It's been profitable. It's very young. It started in June. And we're already up at about 1,500 followers on Instagram. So that's pretty good for a very small business in a couple of months. Very quickly you get also submerged into a community of also small businesses. So that's also really cool.
Well, congratulations and best of luck in your business.
Thanks.
For sure. Definitely the best of luck for your business. It's I believe so far you're the only alumni that we've spoken to, and one of the very few, I believe your brother and just one more person that we know out of our alumni that are starting their own business successfully, at least. And
Thanks.
we really like seeing
Yeah,
it.
it's a risk. You got to be willing to accept the possibility of losses. That's how business is. But I think a lot of people who are into entrepreneurship they just like the adrenaline of it. You know, it is exciting. So
Yeah, what's even more exciting, at least for us, is hearing how like you're doing all this business stuff. It almost sounds like you went to college for a business degree, yet like your degree
yeah,
is completely different and stuff. That's really, really cool. Um,
yeah, um,
what what is
that's
it
true.
that made you like decide to pursue that career, and of course at one point like your educational career
Mhm.
or your profession? Like,
Um,
what is it that kind of led you in that
yeah.
direction?
For when I went into college, I started as a business student. So I started as an international business student at UTEP, but I couldn't find myself. I would try to join organizations within the business school, but I just wasn't, I guess, as passionate of it. I felt like I was just going through the motions. And it wasn't until I took my first statistics class for business where I realized that I was really more into the social sciences, because marketing is really how to manipulate social sciences to make money. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's how I realized like I was really into the social sciences through that statistics class. And literally, like, I think it was my junior year of college, I switched to sociology. And it was a big change because I was so close to graduating. But within that short amount of time, I did so much more for sociology that I had done for in business. I immediately got opportunity to go to Texas A&M to work on a thesis project with the sociology department at A&M. It was really cool because it was also a scholarship. I got to go to conferences and present my research. So sociology was really fun. At that time, all of my research was focused on education and accessibility. So I thought that I was gonna go into sociology in terms of researching education and accessibility. But when I went for my master's degree in sociology, I still thought that I was gonna become a researcher,
Right.
essentially. So when I went for my master's in sociology, I became very interested in gender and health. And so that's how I decided to, which I'm still working on right now. I'm working on my thesis. I decided to study birth control accessibility through technology. So there's a lot of apps now where you can download contraceptives and stuff like that. And I found it very interesting how technology has quickly become submerged with medicine. And then I guess what I think is something for other students to know is just because you study something does not mean that you have to follow that path. Human beings are very dynamic and we have a lot of different interests. And so just because you go for engineering does not mean you have to go straight for an engineering degree. You can also own businesses on the side. You can be an artist. You can do whatever you want, you know? So I
Salma,
think,
you stole one of
yeah.
my last questions with that answer, but it's perfect.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And honestly, I could probably ask you some more questions about like telecontraceptive. Like that's something I
That's
just
a
heard for
whole
the
world. Yeah,
first
it's a
time
lot.
today. And like I thought it was crazy that I could buy my contact lenses through an app. And now you're telling me this, and I'm like mind blown for sure. But can I ask you something else? What is something that you say was that was critical in you making that decision? Because I mean, almost graduating and switching careers, that's no joke. Like physically,
Yeah.
mentally, that's a big strain. So I'm sure that it was something, like I said, like
Um,
critical that made you like,
it's definitely happiness. I think we, as far as like millennials, as well as Generation Z, we live very different lives compared to our parents and grandparents. So back then, you could go to college because you were gonna go for a career path within that college. Also, college was way cheaper. Nowadays, if you're gonna go to college, you're going to college because you really just want to grow. You know, it's for personal growth. I see it mostly. Don't get me wrong. I think that if you go to college and you get a degree, you're always gonna make more money than not getting a degree, because when you go to college now, it's not so much what you're studying, but it's really the skill sets that you learn on the way. So for example, in sociology, you have to do a lot of statistical coding. And so that's definitely helped a lot in the building of my website. You know, like just yesterday, I think I was coding one page. So
Right. That's so cool.
yeah. So the thing is, I think it's happiness for sure that kind of made me switch. So like, if you are going to college, like let's say, oh, I'm going to go to college and be a doctor because doctors make a lot of money, you're not going to be successful because ultimately you're not passionate about it and it's not something you want to do and you're really just money driven. I think that you really have to study something that makes you happy. And if you study that, it will lead to other successful paths. You know what I mean? Like you'll find yourself eventually. Yeah.
That's cool. Happiness is critical, basically. You're the first person to mention that, and I completely agree. A lot of people really do look for a career just based on what opportunities will it present rather than what opportunities can I create for myself through this career, right? Through this career
Exactly.
path,
Yeah.
this career
Mhm.
choice. I definitely agree with that. Let's move into something a little more familiar, I guess. And I
Mhm.
want to ask you, you graduated from Harmony, right? You went to Harmony. Do you have any
Yeah.
memories of the perhaps extracurricular activities that you did there that influenced you, or just something from here that you'd like to share?
Mhm. Yeah, I was part of, as you know, I was part of the first graduating class at Harmony. We were 18 students when we graduated. So it was a very
Wow,
small
I remember.
class. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think the biggest extracurricular activity that I joined was robotics. And I think from there, I'm pretty sure that's when I knew I was also a people person. I was interested in like the robotics aspect, but very quickly I geared more towards looking for sponsorship for a team. So I was the one in charge of looking for money,
I remember you were the
Um,
marketing director, and in
yeah.
fact, it was our
So
first year experiencing something like that, and you were the only
yeah,
person that
so
everybody was like,
that
"No,
was my job.
Salma, do it, Salma."
Yeah, so that's how I knew I was a people person, and that's how I kind of knew that I was either gonna do like business or something people related.
Right.
Because I was pretty good at reaching out. I mean, I remember I got like Chick-fil-A to
You
give
were
us lunch like
selling.
every
You were
single
in high
day.
school selling a school robotics
Yeah,
team. It wasn't
it was
anything else. You
crazy.
were selling a school robotics
Yeah.
team, trying to get people to buy it. And I
So
remember we had so many sponsors that year
yeah,
that
I
you
remember
did
our
that.
T-shirt was full of logos.
That
So
was
it
the
was
only year
cool.
that our t-shirt was so full, and it was
Yeah.
because of you. I do remember
And
that.
it was
The
cool.
influence.
Yeah, robotics offers a lot. I mean, robotics isn't just about like either the programming or the building of the robot. It has like so many little departments and you'll find yourself somewhere in there. That was probably the biggest extracurricular. I did a lot of UILs as well. The UILs that I did was a lot of like public speaking.
Right.
That was sort of my thing. I would go for those. And they were very fun. So yeah, I mean, the extracurriculars that I took part of were very much in line with what I'm doing today. And I think they're fun. I think keeping yourself busy through extracurriculars, especially growing up as a teenager when there's so many opportunities to make wrong choices, is probably the best choice you can do to keep yourself busy,
Right.
and on a good path. So yeah, I recommend students to join those.
Cool. Well, thank you. We're basically done here. Just this is my
Awesome.
last question. It's kind of a two-part question. First part being, with your aspirations. I know that you're following your master's degree. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And the second part of this question, you kind of already answered for us, but it was going to be, what suggestions, what advice you would give to our students here at Harmony and our families?
All right. So I see myself in 10 years for sure being a business owner, and hopefully working within my community. I am planning on putting my research and my expertise in sociology and being active within my community, maybe through Planned Parenthood, who knows. So that's one. I hopefully see myself, having a family, being a parent. So It's also that.
Good luck.
So there's that. I think for advice that I would give. Repeat the second question. What kind of advice are you looking for?
Yeah, any advice, kind of like what you
Oh.
already gave, you know, like what you said about just because you choose a career doesn't mean you're gonna
Yeah,
end up in that
okay.
career, stuff like that. Like
I
that's
think
beautiful.
for sure, my biggest advice is, Harmony, what the way in which they're different compared to other public schools is that it's such a small environment that you get to know all of the teachers there, and you have the opportunity to really grab yourself a hold of an educator and have them make sure that they take you to college. That would be my biggest advice, is just go to college, but remember the generation that you're living in. A lot of the times I think Harmony was extremely competitive academically. Everybody that goes there is extremely bright, and sometimes your ego gets in the way and you want to get accepted to the top universities, Brown, Harvard, you name it. My biggest advice would be is if you get accepted to one of those schools, awesome, great. I'm so happy you're super smart and you're a brain. But if they're not gonna pay for you to go, don't go, because they do not deserve you. So many students now are getting in so much debt because they want to go to these prestigious universities, and these universities are just taking advantage. Like, make sure they pay for your education. If you're here in El Paso, remember UTEP has amazing programs. After I graduated, there has not been a single time where I have been asked what university I graduated from. People care about your skills and your expertise and your experience. So I think that's my biggest thing. If you get accepted, make sure they pay for it. Make sure you get that
What's
scholarship.
up?
Yeah.
I love that advice, Salma. It's really good. I agree with it 100%. Speaking, as somebody who didn't get so many scholarships and had to pay for school for half of my
It's
school.
expensive, yeah.
Intense, yeah. Like
It
I'm
is.
still paying for it, and I'm
Well,
26
number one
already.
reason for a college dropout is financial issues.
Exactly. And a lot of students, my biggest thing when I talk to other younger students, I worked with Harmony for such a long time, was students just so badly want to move out and want to feel independent, but they don't understand that the cost of living, especially where all of these universities are, is extremely expensive. So you're not going to be happy if you don't have the sufficient funds to experience that education. So just, take your time. If you have to stay with your parents, here in El Paso, and go to an amazing university like UTEP, I think they just opened a new interdisciplinary department. They're doing amazing.
They're
You know
growing
what I mean?
like crazy.
Yeah,
for sure.
just, it's okay, do it. And there's so many amazing programs. We have students who have gone to UTEP who are now at NASA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's no debt. And you want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself mentally, health-wise, and everything, and that takes money. So for me, I think it's like a lot of times, students have this idea of what moving out and what school looks like, but you come out with a lot of debt. Our generation is very different. And so there are scholarships out there. You just got to ask for the money. And I think that if you're going to go to those universities, make sure that you're going with a full ride. If they don't offer a full ride, you're going to be fine, I promise, but you're better off graduating without debt than with almost $250,000. I have a friend who went to Colombia, and I think their minimum payment is $1,400 a month after graduating. Yep. So that is very real, and that's my biggest advice. That's because it's very real. I had the privilege of, I stayed home. I studied here. I graduated with zero debt. And so because of that, I'm able to take out a small amount of loans for my master's degree. You see what I mean? So it's, that would be my advice.
Stay within your means if you want to be more happy. I get you. I agree. All right.
I think this is end of our interview, right, Mr. Bustillos?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you, Salma, and best of luck on your thesis and on your personal business. I hope you grow and you succeed.
Thanks.
So guys, this is our, also Salma, thank you for making this program possible, for joining today. And stay tuned, guys. We'll be posting more videos. Thank you.